Follow. And I love your work so much. Isn't she wonderful? I'm so excited to be reading here at Malvern for pretty much the exact same reasons as Tatiana. It's such a beautiful store and it supports small presses and local authors, and those are my favorite things. I have two very different books to read from tonight. One is science fiction and one is found poetry, and I brought found poetry kits for you guys to enjoy because a lot of people ask me what found poetry is, and I'm just like, it's lots of things. A Jab of Deep Urgency was written during the month of April in 2013. It feels like forever ago, when Found Poetry Review asked me if I wanted to be a part of Pulitzer Remix, in which 85 poets decided to remix the 85 Pulitzer winners in fiction. I had a visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan, and she actually wrote me and doesn't hate me for doing this, which is kind of nice. The first poem I'm going to read is called In an Empty Little Voice. I gave him a call, his actual body in my arms. I learn his skin. I find his heartbeat, his phone bill, the bedroom dropping into the sink. I force myself to look straight at happiness. He'll give us a promise. We'll have a good time, don't we always? What's really funny about this book is it was about 6 months after this like super traumatic breakup, which was not that funny. But I didn't realize I was writing about it until I was like on day 25 of the project. And I look back at these, I'm like, oh God, these are all about my ex, but you know, it gives it purpose, I guess. This is called It's Just the Place. Are you aware, hands shaking on the wheel, turning non-existent, the whole fucking world, missing, strip search, stoned, rock and roll or a long, calming breath. I want to finally have no idea. The contraction of fear all those years ago at 24. You had direction, occupied, months, the city, a notebook. You, glittering without recognition, like America. So, as I'm writing these poems using somebody else's words, I don't know if you're familiar with A Visit from the Goon Squad, but almost every chapter is in a different voice, which I thought was going to make it super hard, but it made it really fun because this one is called Turning Back into a Pumpkin, and you certainly wouldn't have found that language in certain other chapters by really angry old women. Turning back into a pumpkin. The prospect of escaping into sunlight immediately tempered me. I ask, despite wariness that has intruded our debauchement, for reasons. I want to filch hot tea, sobbing, pleading in motion, weaving head down in the manner of attractive women. I know radioactivity. It's embarrassing for both of us. Our mutual knowledge. I'll keep my peace. So this one, I think, was on the day that I figured out I was writing about a person who had moved to North Carolina all of a sudden. It's called Mouths of Monsters. You're just as paranoid as one of the diehards. You started, woodsy. You know all about talk. On your best day, you waited, ashamed. It was too late. All your secrets never cast a kiss, and you feel it. Your teeth ache. It functions like a force field. Everyone with lips, a mirror, how those smiles would be laughable. I love you, into a rope, under seething plants. The walls are naked, rising into golden light, vanishing. The window is open. This is the last one from this book I'll read, and I'll let you discover the rest. There's 30 pieces in there, and I hope you enjoy them. Now it felt too late. You kept walking. I saw uncompromising adulthood, breasts, hips, a miracle, enough to absorb the world. Feathery bones, you, still live in a tire swing, closing eyes to imagine everything stopped. So that's A Jab of Deep Urgency. They have copies over there. And I hope that you'll pick up a found poetry kit because I had a lot of fun making them for you guys. So this is transitioning to a guide for the practical abductee, and I'm not crazy. This is not actually a guide, or maybe it is, I'm not sure. But I'm like super obsessed with anything that could be on the X-Files. And I think I started writing this when I became obsessed with the X-Files in like 2000. I don't know how that shift happened, but this first one is called Bermuda, and it's about a certain triangle. And this was probably the first that I wrote that ended up in the chapbook. Bermuda. This is where Columbus saw the light, floating in the distance. A lantern, faint, anchored here. I know Earth will forget me, despite heavy maritime traffic in the area. Fear is a myth. In these parts, a concept that has no bearing on reality of late summer storms. The whistle of the ocean ebbs into my ears, a requiem for the sinking. But I'll be saved, as promised, by the mysteries that preceded me. The boats and planes that disappear here, skeptics claim as hoaxes. But I see the dance, the lights that sparkle on the horizon where no land waits to hold the flame. Here is where I'll greet our makers, a dot on a satellite you'll never locate. My breath the same as the salt, stuck in the air forever. So I don't know if you know this, but some people think that when Columbus was coming across, he landed somewhere in the Caribbean and he saw this firelight. And some people think that was a spaceship. So that's kind of where that came from. I like the spaceship theory. I'm not sure if I buy it, but it's nice to think about. This one is called Unicorn in Central Park. I think I kind of use this to mitigate the feelings I have about carriage horses because they're pretty, but they look sad. Unicorn in Central Park. You've heard the city is magic. It's why I came, knowing I'd be a workhorse, carting tourists down Fifth Avenue, donning bells that clank, never a jingle. Hiding. It should be simple. The carousel, though, it reflects truths where I am a lie. Magic, this city has it. Sure, the first snow, a kiss in the park, the off-Broadway shows, exposing names and lights. I'm just another creature with feet touching wet pavement. Myth is a line blurred between starlet and waitress, between horse and cart. There are worlds here which we render invisible. The wind in my hair, a girl's breath, a last ride in the settling dusk. So I lived in Brooklyn for 2 years and I used to see those horses all the time, but maybe if they're unicorns, that would be kind of nice. This is another triangle poem, and it's based on kind of a true story. Like, we don't actually know what the truth of it, but I don't know if anyone knows about Flight 19. There were all these planes that just completely disappeared back in like the 40s or 50s, or I'm really bad at history, but sometime. And I like to imagine that maybe they're still hanging out somewhere. Flight 19 hits the triangle. Blue. You know, I've begun to ponder this opportunity to discover my own freefall, a chance encounter with forever. I'm blue, blue like sky, blue like water, blue like forgetting what year it is and what mission I'm missing. And here we are in the triangle, no, capital T, the capital T, triangle. Flight 19 is never, always, here, maybe. Losing her is blue. Losing her is blue like the bruise of a trench that awaits if we arrive, fall, sink. And sometimes I think maybe this is just a moment, one of those stretched out bits of time, drama. I'm not aging, the crew either. We just spiral somehow, and she is somewhere with petite feet planted. She is blue, blue dresses, blue gloves, blue eyes in that blue little house we were going to buy. I am Flight 19's captain. I am Flight 19's only hope. I am a traffic light stuck on yellow forever. This is the title poem. And oftentimes when I'm out in the world with this book, I have to explain, I promise I'm not crazy, this is science fiction. I don't think I've been abducted that I know of, but I really like imagining this. So a guide for the practical abductee. It will be some time before sleep returns to normal, out there without the solar cycle, so regular as it is on Earth. You feel always somnambulant. So it's not the nightmares that wake. It's the clocks that once stopped, the dark everywhere. Humans thrive on sunsets, sunrises. Keep your stories, or else write them as fictions. Publishing is cruel, but your kin are crueler. To them, you are missing mere minutes, and your yarns woven with space travel and days are anachronistic at best. I have felt the soft walls of the institution. You will not enjoy it. On the nights when you swear you smell stars, when the dark is too bright and eyes shut, you hear their voices warble down. Put the tablet on your tongue. Swallow. Keep your eyes closed and call me. I haven't gotten any phone calls yet, but the book's only been out since June, so you never know. This poem actually had to fight to get into the collection, and I think it provides a little bit of sense of balance, and it's kind of sad because it's completely and totally true. I mean, like, the story of it isn't true, but the background of it is. It's called Animal Control Answers a Jackalope Emergency. A woman called, said creatures had overtaken her garden. Foul things, she called them, cursed things. She may have been right about the curse. Sometimes El Chupacabra is a dehydrated coyote carcass. Sometimes a unicorn is a rhinoceros. The tragedy, of course, is how illness spreads, rabbit to rabbit, garden to garden. There is no other world here, only cancer, the tumors unexcisable, leaving only shadows in the dark. So jackalopes are actually bunnies with cancer, and I'm really sad to tell you that. They just have like little tumors that look like horns. But it's nice to imagine, you know, the jackalopes not being cancerous. This is the last piece. It's called Love Letter for Chessie. And I think that the character narrating this poem is kind of me, but hopefully not me, because he's like a really old dude. Love Letter for Chessie. They say she's a plesiosaur, if anything. And I've pored over newspapers at the library, journals that might report digs, pottery and bones, and all the old things found in the sediment around the bay. They say I'm full of shit, maybe insane like my wife was in the end. I still tell my story, how I saw her, how her head arched out of the bay before sliding back, an almost soundless goodbye. They say I'm a fossil, that I hold on to legends as they're easier to carry than my portable oxygen or the pills the nurses deliver with my granddaughter's letters. She says I'm a dreamer, and that she'll always watch, wearing binoculars in her canoe on the lake I used to visit when I was ambulatory, a skeptic, and real. Thank you.